to the beat, y'all.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. On the first day of December, 13 minutes past the hour. Welcome to another episode of hashtag Truth Be Told, JD Live, your early morning. Get up, wake up, wake up. Your information, inspiration, motivation in the morning, conversation that promotes elevation. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, back in the building. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, at the JDMS on. You can catch us at 100 LK. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is the Monday after Thanksgiving weekend, Black Friday. Today is Cyber Monday, and I've got so much I want to talk about. 13 minutes past the hour. I want to talk about what did we learn this week. Of course, I'm coming off the Bayou Classic, the annual Bayou Classic, the 52nd annual Bayou Classic, gathering between Southern University and Grambling State University. Good morning to everyone out there. Taking a little time, tell a friend to tell a friend, share this with a friend. We're back in studio. Good morning, Willie Pickens. So, one thing I think we learned this weekend, and that is there is a commercial out there, a commercial I'm quite fond of. It talks about the odds and how you should never underestimate the underdog. That's going to be important as we go further into the conversation of this podcast on this day, because I'm going to talk about how I think some folks underestimated a team. They were expecting to be 1-11 at the end of the season. I think a lot of folks had wrote the Southern University off. And that's kind of crazy because the year before this, and once again, I'm not big on sports. Elijah Nixon normally comes in with sports, but Elijah is out there in Tennessee hustling. And I think Tennessee learned a lesson this weekend too. You can laugh all you want to about a person for a certain season, but there will come a time that they will rise above the fray of what they're normally known to do. A lot of you don't know this, and I'm going to come back to Southern in a minute. But one of the laughing stocks of college football used to be Prairie View A&M. To be exact, if I recall right, and you might need to Google this and check me because I may be wrong, there was a time that Prairie View A&M had the longest losing record in college football. That same Prairie View A&M, like a phoenix, have rose from the ashes and will be playing Jackson State. Same Jackson State that one Deion Sanders used to coach for the SWAC championship this year. to go and represent the SWAC in the Celebration Bowl against the MEAC champion, which is South Carolina State. But there was a time. And see, that's prevalent to this first day of December, to this episode of Hashtag Truth Be Told, because what I want to tell you is, first, what did we learn this weekend? Well, first of all, you don't underestimate an underdog or the one that you wrote off. And folk, as I just did, will, to justify where you at today, bring up where you were at yesterday. They will discuss your past. Get this microphone right where y'all can hear me good. It's the 1st of December. I was looking at news. They were talking about the holiday season and Black Friday, and seems to be a lot of more folk were outside on Black Friday. Now, here's the thing. You had a lot of people outside shopping instead of being inside the house and on their computers and on their phone devices ordering stuff. And they still did a lot of that on and before this Thanksgiving weekend came up. But a lot of folks were just happy to be outside again. Even though you might have seen more folks out in the shopping areas, they were buying much less. They weren't bringing home as much as they normally bring home. We'll talk about that later also. Because I still ask the question. And so many folks were so hell-bent on, we can't elect an African-American woman to the highest government position in the land of President of the United States of America. Are you feeling all that you're better off today than you were 2 and 3 years ago? That's the question. Do you feel like your dollar is going further? Do you feel like you're getting more relief when you go to the gas pump, when you go to the grocery store, when you get your utility bills? Do you feel better off? In the municipality that I live in, though I am a world traveler, I've been all over the place. I'm like the song, been around the world, and yeah. But in the municipality I live with, we're having an issue because I live in Louisiana, and one thing that you don't mess with in Louisiana is certain things. You don't mess with the food here in Louisiana. These folk here, they believe it. I've been here since 95. You can't tell them they ain't the coldest cooks on the planet, because if you do, they will check you where you stand. Even within Louisiana, there are certain folks that feel like certain regions of Louisiana, be it northern Louisiana, where the Grambling State University exists at. And I will say at exit 81, let me ring the bell. That was a hell of a game. Big ups to Southern and Grambling on that Bayou Classic. But folk up north in Louisiana will say, hey, man, we know how to burn. Guess what? People down south in Louisiana say we know how to burn, be it that you're from the 504 or the 337, the 225, the 318. Had to hit them with them area codes. Folk will tell you, ain't no life like boot life. And I can testify to that, because when I first got here in 1995 at the Grambling State University, where everybody is somebody, my dear mother reminded me, you're headed to Louisiana, boy, don't eat no gumbo. Because if you do, I'll never see you again. And for 2 years, I didn't touch that delicious delicacy because I wanted to see my mama. But sure enough, as soon as I ate a cup, a few kids later, a marriage and a divorce, I'm still here in Louisiana. Something magical about this place to me. But I digress. 21 minutes past the hour. Welcome to Hashtag Truth Be Told. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, in the building. I see we got folks jumping in on all platforms. I hope you enjoyed I did a live broadcast. I'm actually working with my audio guy because next year we're going to be all in at the Battle of the Bands, and I'm going to give it to you just the way you like it. Uh, I just wanted to test out and see, were y'all interested in the Greek show, the Battle of the Band? And it seems like y'all were highly interested. So next year, I've already cleared it. We will be broadcasting live from the Greek show and the Battle of the Bands. The bands did a great job with the halftime show. It was big. Southern University featuring Juvenile. Back that thing up. Back that thing up. I bet he did. For all us grown folks, back that ass up. Back that ass up. And my girl from Memphis 10, always good to see my home people in the building. A lot of folks don't know, and I ain't even gonna really go there because I don't want folks to say, there you go. But go. Is it Glorilla? Glorilla. See there? I'm old. I know all this. She did her thing with the world fame. And it was good seeing a lot of my folks, man. Everybody, their mama was reaching out to me. Talking about, man, we see you on TV. This is what I do. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. Been on the Bayou Classic sidelines ever since 1995, where I had the awesome privilege of working with the late, great, legendary Eddie Robinson, who is the architect of HBCU football as we know it today. The reason folks know HBCU football the way they know it is because of one Eddie Robinson down at Grambling State University. I said it. I stand 10 toes down on it. And not only him, but there were others who also uplifted the SWAC, another one from the Southern University who is still alive, the dean of the SWAC. And anytime you see somebody like a Coach Pete Richardson, sit down and have a word with the man. Get some of that wisdom. I also like to herald some of the new Jacks. One of the new Jacks, he's coaching right now at Colorado, is none other than Coach Prime. Coach Prime brought a resurgence to Black college football, to HBCU football. Coach Prime came into the SWAC and turned this thing upside down. He was here for 3 years. First year didn't go too well. But the next two after that, Jackson State said, if you beat us, you ain't going to do it. Because they had 2 consecutive years of running the table in the SWAC. Couldn't nobody beat them. And now we are ushering in a new coaching era at Southern University with the running back coach who worked underneath Prime at Colorado State, who is a Louisiana native from New Orleans, who is an NFL Hall of Famer. You know him from the St. Louis Rams. Marshall Faulk, new coach at Southern University. Brother, there's a lot of stuff shaking up in the world of sports in the state of Louisiana, LSU. And I ain't really going to talk about them a lot because I'm about us folks today. I'm about the black and brown. But LSU, they got a brand new coach too. Lane Kiffin just made it into town. Am I a Lane Kiffin fan? I'm from the great state of Tennessee. And if anybody from Tennessee remember Lane Kiffin, he coached the Volunteers for 1 year. I was not a happy Volunteer that year. I hope and pray for the great state of Louisiana. He does much better at Death Valley than he did at Rocky Top. That's all I got to say about that. So, 25 minutes past the hour. Welcome to hashtag Truth Be Told. Conversation that promotes elevation. Listen, family, folks were on the road yesterday. I know I was one of those folks. It normally takes me from my house to New Orleans, and I drive and I drive it quite frequently. Normally takes no more than 2 hours. And that's with bad traffic. Especially if I take not the conventional way. If I don't take the interstates, if I literally take the back way, if I take a way that is secondary roads, it normally won't take me no more then 2 hours to make it from New Orleans back to my humble abode. Yesterday, it took me almost 3.5, because everybody and their mama was leaving, trying to get back to from which they came. And guess what? We got bad weather. It was raining. It was beautiful weather for the classic. Beautiful weather for the Greek show and the Battle of the Bands. Beautiful weather for the fanfare and frolically happenings in New Orleans during the Bayou Classic weekend. I applaud Mother Nature. I applaud Mother Nature. She took care of her business. And there was a sea of black and brown folks out in New Orleans enjoying themselves. And that was beautiful, because I have not yet heard one incident of anything crazy happening. And that I am so thankful for. At 27 minutes past the hour, let's get into a little smack talk. Started this whole conversation on today's podcast about, there's a commercial that talks about, you know what? Ain't a smart thing to go against the underdog, because the odds, for example, it shows David and Goliath, and talks about the odds when David walked out with his slingshot was David wasn't going to make it. Goliath was going to stomp a mud puddle in his tail and put belt to ass. But we all know how that story came out. Then they show King Leonidas and the Spartans, and they say the odds were that Sparta wasn't going to beat that big Persian army. But we all know how that story came out. And it shows the odds of the Wright brothers being able to take flight at Kitty Hawk. But we all know how that story come out. Well, the story this weekend and the beginning of the Bayou Classic, because I started the Bayou Classic down in New Orleans at the Superdome on Monday for the Bayou Classic press conference. You can go and look at all my social media. The story was, there is no way in hell that these Southern University Jaguars are going to beat the Grambling State Tigers. Not the Grambling State Tigers that this year beat the mighty, because they consider themselves the mighty. They are the defending champions. They are now the back-to-back SWAC East champions, Jackson State Tigers. But Grambling, because Grambling had beat them in the Las Vegas Bowl with a superstar kicker that just, oh my God, listen, Gramblings were like, hey, if anything else, we done beat Jackson State this year, and we about to beat, they don't call it Southern. We about to beat Southern. Well, family, they have a saying at Southern University: it ain't over until the fat man or the fat lady sings. And when it comes down to the Bayou Classic, records don't mean diddly squat. And guess who showed? Hold up. Grambling showed up, as I recall, some years ago, and I love my Grambling Knights. Love them dearly. I am a son of Southern, but I am seriously a part of the fold when it comes to Grambling State University. And I know you see me constantly in Southern paraphernalia and garb, because for 16 years, I have been on the sidelines, and I have done interviews with all the players, and I have filmed and worked with the media department, young and old, at Southern University. I get a check from Southern. And it's just like I tell anybody, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, but you let Jerry Jones hire me at the Cowboys, I'm going to be on here talking about we them boys with a whole bunch of Dallas stuff on. Because I'm going to always represent for who pays the bill. Back to where I was at. It was a great game. Southern University wins in the last minute of the game, actually the last seconds of the game. Grambling had 2 times to take the lead, 2 times to kick a field goal and take the lead. They didn't. Southern gave the ball back to Grambling. Grambling was pushing their way down to get back into field goal position. And all of a sudden come a big hit and a fumble recovery by Kelby Givens. And let me remember that name, Kelby Givens, because you're going to see that name on Sunday and that young man on Sunday. And Southern comes out victorious by 1 point over Grambling State University at the 52nd Bayou Classic. Now, Grambling, who has once upon a time, a long time ago, beat Southern University 4 games in a row at the Bayou Classic. Now Southern is tied up with them for saying the same thing. We beat y'all four Bayou Classic straight. In other words, there are some people who came in as freshmen at Grambling State University and can say, as they graduated seniors, we ain't never beat Southern. Had to take a sip on that. Just like back in the cut, and it wasn't too very long ago, it was in the 2000s. Grambling could say, if you were a Southern University guy who went to Southern for 4 years straight, you ain't never, you came in as a freshman, you left out as a senior, and you ain't never seen a victory at the Bayou Classic. It was great. The Battle of the Bands was great. The food was great. The fellowship was great. It's always good seeing folks that you went to school with, folks that you hung out with, folks that you work with, folks who know you from your days when you were on the yard. And let me tell you something. I am looking forward. I'm very much looking forward to next year's season with Southern under the leadership of Marshall Faulk. And of course, a lot of folks that came with the naysaying. Oh man, blah, 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 blah. Let me say this. That same blah, 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 blah. I heard it when Coach Prime took over Jackson State. And everybody who said blah, blah, blah is eating crow right now. Because Jackson State University got put back on the map because of one Deion Sanders, better known as Coach Prime. Because of one Shedeur Sanders, who played 2 years as quarterback there at Jackson State. Because of one Travis Hunter, who is the Heisman Trophy winner, who played at Jackson State. Because of one Shiloh Sanders, who graduated from Jackson State, did transfer to Colorado, but guess what? Still got a degree that says I am a proud alumnus of the I love. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna say this the best way I can, family. And you know, you got folk here like Douglas talking about what Marshall ain't gonna do. Guess what? I heard that with Coach Prime. Coach Prime ain't gonna do this. Coach Prime ain't gonna do that. This is the swag. If y'all don't recall, Eddie Robinson, who is Eddie Robinson Jr., who is the coach, no relationship to the great Eddie Robinson, who's the legendary coach from Grambling, but Eddie Robinson Jr., who is now living and the coach of Alabama State Hornets, said, Deion ain't swag. Well, if Deion ain't swag, 2 years, he cleaned the clock of everybody in the swag. I know, because for 2 years with Southern University, I had to be sick and tired of being sick and tired watching them clean our clock. If it wasn't at Jackson State, at Veterans Memorial, you can call it Reynolds Stadium all you want to. Guess what? He renovated the Renter Stadium. It was resurrected. Or that Hail Mary that Hail Shedeur threw at Southern University that quiet Mumford Stadium like I've never heard a hush over Mumford Stadium in my life. Speaking of which, I never thought I would live the day to see the Jaguars never win a home game, which they just did this past season that was over with Saturday with the Bayou Classic. However, regardless of how you might laugh or kiki and giggle at Southern and talk about, oh, they were 2-10, they 2-10 did beat one Grambling State University. And guess what? Ain't time to make no excuses. I myself have ate crow this morning before I got on the podcast. Because I talked a lot of noise about them Cowboys. Oh, yeah, I talked about them Cowboys. Let me go into some of my crow eating. But guess what? Ain't nobody really talking a lot of noise about them Cowboys now. Because the way you may start a thing or the way you may be known to do a thing don't mean that's the way you're going to stay in that thing. That might be a message for somebody. Because we quick to bring up people's past and talk about what they did. Y'all saw, all of y'all sound like Keith Sweat out there from Do the Right Thing, as my man would say on Do the Right Thing. Y'all all talk about I'm gonna, what they gonna. But at the end of the day, like my man Sweet Willie said, what I'm gonna do. See, Southern said, y'all said that Southern was gonna be 1-11. Southern said, not so fast, my friends. And I'll be very honest with you, I was waiting for the fifth quarter in the Superdome because I knew if Grambling had beat Southern, there was going to be a revitalization of the Battle of the Bands that I caught on Saturday in the Dome. But oh no, as soon as Southern whooped Grambling, guess who got out the building quickly? Gramblingites. Even the band exit the building with the quickness because people were in shock. We could not have lost to a 1-10 Southern team, but you lost because you can't go in saying to yourself, because they down, we got them. Because guess what? If Southern did anything, Southern put something on Grambling that Grambling need to keep in the back of their mind. Grambling, you couldn't beat a down and out Southern team. I want y'all to think about what I just said. Southern all season long, all through the SWAC, except one Mississippi Valley. And big ups to Mississippi Valley, because it must have been, listen, Saturday must have been the day that God said, if you're an underdog today, you shall rise. Because Mississippi Valley, who had not beaten nobody but one person also all season long, was playing the mighty FAMU, the Rattlers from Tallahassee, who have a philosophy that we strike, and strike again. Yeah, they got struck in Valley. They got defanged and lost to the Delta Devils. Somewhere Jerry Rice and Satellite Titan were kicked back and drinking some good liquor, smoking some good cigars and laughing their ass off. Because one Jerry Rice, the Hall of Famer from the San Francisco 49ers, went to a HBCU. See, a lot of folks were calling me Saturday and texting my phone. I got, plethora of texts and people reaching out saying, man, we see you on NBC. Well, I'm always on NBC. What do you mean? I'm either in the background, in the forefront, but I'm always on NBC, ESPN. I stay on major networks. This is what I do. But they saw me because I was a little bit in the swagger of my old self. Had to throw on one of those. As a guy said, man, you casket sharp in that Mississippi, crooked letter I, humpback eye, tooting hats. So I was talking to my former boss, who I worked with for 2 years as his media advisor, and worked with the Grambling State University radio network. Big ups to one Santoria Black. See, I ain't new to this HBCU thing. I'm true to it. I was HBCUing when HBCUing wasn't popular. See, everybody now done jumped on the gravy train. I was podcasting and doing live broadcasts and on sidelines and doing a lot of stuff that folks are doing today that they call it cutting edge. Well, as Eddie Robinson would say, you're looking at the granddaddy of all that. I'm one of the originators, the innovator. So I am always with a smile on my face when I see people doing big things that I was doing 20, 25 years ago. Because it lets me know that I wasn't doing it for myself. I was literally doing it to be a trailblazer, to say it can be done and it can be done better. Because a lot of folks are doing it a lot better than I did it. And I'm thankful for that. So when people like Douglas Guidry say this, I mean, come on, bruh. This is the SWAC we talking about. Yeah, this is the SWAC that produced Doug Williams. That SWAC. You right. We are talking about the SWAC. And it's SWAC, not SAWC, but it's the SWAC. It produced Doug Williams, first black quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. The first black quarterback to set the trailblazer and said when folks said black men can't be quarterback, they don't have the mental capacity. Doug said, "I'll prove you wrong." Once again, I started this off talking about the underdog, about how folks put odds on folks and wrote folks off. See, folks wrote Doug Williams off when he was the quarterback for the Redskins. Oh, yeah, they were the Redskins then, not the Commanders. But when he was the quarterback at the Redskins, folks said, no, he black, he a quarterback. They ain't got the mental capacity to run a game and win a Super Bowl. But guess what Doug did? Against all odds, Doug won. Oh, yeah, this is the SWAC. Yeah, they talk about the SWAC, but this is the same SWAC that produced the legendary and greatest coach to ever walk a football field. And I ain't talking about Bear Bryant. I ain't talking about Nick Saban. I ain't talking about Lane Kiffin. I ain't talking about who you talking about. Guess who I'm talking about? I'm talking about the legendary Grambling State University coach, Eddie Robinson, the architect of winning. Won more games than any other coach in the history of the sport. Ha ha. Yeah, that's the SWAC I'm talking about. I'm talking about the SWAC that if you're a Chicago Bears fan, and right now all I hear Bear fans saying is bear down, bear down, bear down. Well, there's one name you say in Chicago, you better not say it sideways. It's like sacrilege, and you might get drugged across the Windy Cities. That's the name of one Sweetness from the I Love Jackson State University. One Walter Payton. Be exact, they have the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, named after a great man that played in the SWAC. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold up. Douglas Guidry, if I remember right, you just pledged, but you know what? You a neophyte, so I ain't gonna go too deep in you, because when you're new to the game, sometimes you got to realize what you're talking about. But this is the same SWAC that, if I recall right, hold on. There's a guy called Medgar Evers. Yeah, Medgar Evers. Civil rights dude named Medgar Evers. I think he was a Sigma too. I'm not 100%. But somewhere along, great people come from the SWAC. Jerry Rice, because if you say his name in San Francisco, he's the San Francisco Treats. Rice-A-Roni graduated from the SWAC. Oh, if you want to go to Southern University, there was a guy who played for my Pittsburgh Steelers who would part of the Steel Curtain. One of them people who made one of these rings, a couple of these rings show up, named Mel Blunt. From the SWAC, a dude named Aeneas Williams from the SWAC. Oh, baby, just because we the SWAC don't mean we ain't somebody. Because if you go right now to Grambling State University, they have a place, a shrine. They call it the Eddie Robinson Museum. You might need to go visit it. Because I would infer you first go to places like Alabama, LSU, these so-called SEC places, and look at all the beautiful names that they put into the pros. And then take your ass down to Grambling and go to the Eddie Robinson Museum and walk in there and go, wait a minute, I didn't know all these folks came from where? "15 minutes to the top of the hour." I digress, because I'm not trying to go into nowhere deep on nobody, but let me say this. The blacker the college, the sweeter the knowledge. I can testify to that. And I am so thankful that even though I started off at a very small HBCU in Jackson, Tennessee, home of the Dragons, better known as Lane College, and did not do well there because I was too busy running the streets trying to be Mr. Party Man. Thank God that there was a man who guided me, directed me, got me out of that, and said, "No, you're gonna get your ass up here to the University of Maryland, where you can get you some education in you, and stop trying to be Mr. I'm gonna rock the party 24/7, 365, because there's more to life than just throwing parties." Thanks, Pops. So even though I started off at a HBCU, did not get my undergrad from a HBCU, and that was my own fault because I was acting a fool. I have been a son of Southern for 16 years, working the sidelines, working with Southern. I have been the stadium announcer at Southern. I have did the stadium announcer. I've been the arena announcer for Southern basketball. I've seen some great things happen in the SWAC. I've been great. And yes, SWAC don't have the resources of the SEC, but guess who we have to blame for that? Guess who we have to blame for that? See, sometimes the reason we're so quick to criticize is we don't want to look ourselves in the mirror and say, what have you contributed to the betterment of the situation of your own people, except criticism? How many times have you wrote a check to a Black institution? How many times have you bought a ticket to go to a banquet at a Black institution? Hold up, wait a minute. For those of us who have pledged a Black fraternity or sorority at a Black institution, it's a little bit different than when you pledge it at a PWI or you pledge it grad chapter. And I don't care what Divine Nine it is. I even go further. It's a lot different when you even in the Black circles of Masonry. If your Masonic chapter was outside of a school at a PWI, but if it was on the campus of or close to a HBCU, you a different type of Mason and a different type of Eastern Star. I promise you. I promise you. Now, look, I wasn't trying to make this a racial thing, but I did want to say the following. Before I start bragging and boasting on other folk, the Nick Sabans. See, I ain't going to mention Nick's name without mentioning the dean of the SWAC. Very good friend of mine, Pete Richardson. Oh, no, I'm not going to mention Nick's name and not mention Pete's name. I'm not going to mention Lane Kiffin's name and not mention, for those who know the name, Cassim. Oh, yeah. I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to mention Bear Bryant's name when the man who literally put me into HBCU sports, athletics, and football, the late, great, legendary Eddie Robinson, who personally saw me at Grambling State, pulled me to the side and said, son, can you help me? They tell me you good at this and I need help. And begin to mentor me and give me life lessons. If folks saw me on TV Saturday, if you were watching NBC Sports, I was talking to my former boss, also another mentor in my life, the great Doug Williams, first Black quarterback to win a Super Bowl, who thinks far beyond just quarterbacking a team, but is an executive in the NFL. It was good to see him remind me, I see you with all that Southern stuff on, but you will forever be a Tiger. And it takes a Tiger to run Jaguar business. Oh, baby, let me tell you something. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this, and it ain't about me. And I want to, with the last 10 minutes of this show, talk about family pay attention. Right now in the city I live in, there's conversations about a Mardi Gras route. And it is important to a lot of folks, and to some folks it ain't important. And regardless of where you stand on the issue, at the end of the day, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for any and everything. Don't get caught up with the banana in the tailpipe, regardless if it's coming from the left or the right. Pay attention. I put that out there constantly. I constantly say that for a reason. But so many times, folks that we think that are our skin folks are our kin folks, they not. And sometimes folks who are at high privilege, who all of a sudden we want to pet and pamper and say, oh, So and so a good man, so and so a good woman. They don't give a damn about you and me. They only need you for a season where you can usher their white ass into our black community and make us believe in them, where they can get their votes to get where they need to, and they forget about you and me. The only person they remember is the person who brought them there that said, you know, so and so's a good man, a good woman. We got to pay attention, family. It's the holiday season. The holidays ain't happy for everybody. Black man, black woman, if you woke up this morning and you got breath in your lungs and your mentals are together, check on your people. Check on other people that look like you and ask them the question, are you okay? Because through all of this celebrations and kikiing, there's somebody somewhere that is debating right now, should I keep living? And there might just be waiting for somebody to ask them, are you all right? Where they can say, no, I'm not. Where you can stop them from going down this road that they are alone and have nobody with them. We got to start checking on our brothers and sisters. Check on the elderly. I am completely flabbergasted how many folks just leave our elderly folks to the wind. They're in nursing homes, haven't seen family members in years. They're in their homes. Some of their homes are falling apart. Ain't nobody walked in there and said, baby, are you okay? 7 minutes to the top of the hour. And you know, I say a lot, and I'm not trying to be ugly. I tell you, I come on here every morning. I don't come on here with my Cash App, my Zelle, telling you, send me money. Baby, I work for a living. After I get off of this, I go get it out the mud with these bare hands and with this mouthpiece and with the talents that God has given me. I'm not on here talking about Cash App me, send me stars. Need that. And if you decide to do it, you did it because you wanted to, not because I passed the collection plate around. I'm going to keep doing this until God tells me to stop doing it. And when he tells me to stop doing it, I'm going to stop immediately, because it is he that directs and orders my footsteps. This ain't my platform. I have this as a vehicle that anybody who wants to come on, all you got to do is inbox me, call me, see me, say, hey, man, I'd love to come on the show and talk about whatever. Because we need to have a space where we can talk and talk unbothered, unedited, unafraid, that we can say whatever we want to say, and we can agree to disagree without falling out with one another. That's why I'm on here, to show folk who say we can't get along that we can get along, to speak about the issues that are important to us, because you can tell with this Mardi Gras stuff, some things that are important to us ain't important to everybody, ain't important to them. And sometimes it is the little things. Though you got to pay attention of these Trojan horses that get released in our neighborhood constantly. They look like us, they talk like us, they speak like us, but they have nothing but the whole purpose and plan of tearing us down from the inside. Pay attention. It was not my intentions on the 1st of December going down this path, this rabbit hole. When I wake up in the morning, I send my prayers up to the Lord and I say, Lord, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. God said, don't worry, I will provide. If anything we learned this weekend, which I started the show out with, don't underestimate the underdog. Southern University was 1-10 going into the Bayou Classic, with the first winning year in Grambling State University football history since 2019, I believe. Grambling had a drought of losing seasons. They went in feeling good, looking good, winning record over 500, poised to beat the Southern University Jaguars. Don't underestimate the underdog. Because regardless of what you heard or what you thought or what you went down to New Orleans to see happen, when the dust cleared, it was 28-27. And the Bayou Classic victors of the 52nd Bayou Classic was not the Grambling State University Tigers. It was the Southern University Jaguars. With that being said, I give that precautionary word of warning to thee I love. Oh, my friends up in Jackson, Mississippi. M-I, crooked letter I. In the SIP. Pay attention. Prairie View coming. And this ain't the Prairie View that held the record of the most losses in NCAA college history. It's a whole different Prairie View. So y'all better pay attention. Because even though y'all on social media talking about we ain't worried about Prairie View, we getting ready for South Carolina State, baby. You better take it one game at a time. Wakanda coming. I love Prairie View. I got a young man that I'm helping mentor right now that goes to Prairie View. Love that young man. Love him with all my heart. Love him if he was my own son. Wakanda coming to Veterans Stadium. And don't be surprised if the Black Panther walk in there and say, M'Baku, why are you here? It's Challenge Day. All right, family. A lot I left out today. Look, it's the first of the month. Big ups to everybody who made it this far. It's the holiday season. Holidays ain't happy for everybody. Check on your people. Check on your people. Look, I'm going to kind of get to the bottom of this. Thank you for all the folks who have logged in on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter X, on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you for all you who jumped in on the Greek show and the Battle of the Bands. It is still on YouTube. I know we're working on the sound. I'm still, in everything I do, I'm still trying to perfect it and get things together. But we were there. We will be there again next year, and we will be there bigger, badder, and better if the Lord allow us to see it. Because guess what? I can't talk about days to come because all I'm guaranteed is here and now. Plan for tomorrow. Live for today. Tomorrow is promised to no man. With that being said, y'all need to tell some folks that you need to, I love you. You need to tell some folks that you need to apologize to, I'm sorry. Because when it's too late in either you or them or they, you know, my English is all over the place. But if either one of you transition to the other side, that woulda, coulda, shoulda, don't work. Because when folk ain't here, you can't say to them what you feel like needs to be said where they can hear it and they can respond back. Even if their response is no response, at least you got to say it to them while they were in the land of the living. With that being said, top of the hour, let me get up out of here. Let me get up out of here. I end every show the same way, and I end it for a reason. I need y'all to be better today. Be better today than you were yesterday. And I need you to do something today to be a blessing to somebody somewhere that no matter what you do, there's no earthly way they could ever pay you back. And I need you to remember this, that there is no secret, absolutely no secret what God can do. What he has done for others, he willingly can do for you. For when God is with you, nothing or no one can stand against you. Be blessed. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful beginning of the first of the month of December. If you celebrate the holiday season or if you don't, I want you to live long, prosper, and to be at peace. See you tomorrow if the Lord says the same for Tell the Truth Tuesday. I'm up out of here. Peace.